안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. Hey everyone. So in today's lesson 10, we will be looking at the household items. So in our on our previous lessons, we looked at different furnitures and the house structure and things like that. And so going into more in depth, so we'll be talking about more about the household items in Korean. Okay, so all right. So the first household item that we'll be looking at is air conditioner or air conditioner, and in Korean it's pretty similar. It's called aircon. Okay, follow after me. Aircon. So, right, in English, air. In Korean, actually in Korean is 공기. However, this household item, air conditioner, we just call it the aircon, English itself. But in the pronunciation, in Korean pronunciation, so it's aircon, air conditioner. Okay, and moving on to our next one is fan. Fan, and in Korean we call it 선풍기. Follow after me. 선풍기. So fan is pretty simple, but in Korean is three syllables. 선풍기. Okay, I hope you get it. 선풍기. All right, next one. So we had the air conditioner and the fan. Now the opposite, the heater. Heater. Okay, and in Korean is also called heater. 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 Okay, pretty simple. Okay, and for the next household item, we'll be looking at the broom, and in Korean we call it the 빗자루. Uh, we see that there's a on the final basic consonant there's a shield in under P. But as we have learned in lesson, was it 2 or 3? Yes, that doesn't sound like the pits, but it's pit. So 빗자루, 빗자루, and that is the broom. Okay, well, in modern days we use more of the vacuum cleaner than broom, but I guess it depends. If you have a yard, then 빗자루 would be much more useful. 빗자루, right? Okay. Moving on to our next one. I'm sure every household has this. Is the dustpan or trash can. In some other country calls it trash can, dustpan, and it's in Korean it's called 쓰레받기. 쓰레받기. So 받기 in Korean it means to receive. So receive what? Trash, dust. So trash pan or dustpan depends on on the country. So it's in Korean it's called 쓰레받기. So usually 쓰레받기 and 빗자루 kind of goes along in Korean. So 빗자루 and 쓰레받기, dustpan. All right, next one is mop. So after sweeping the floor or the yard with 빗자루 and collecting the dust with the 쓰레받기, now it's time to mop. Well, not the yard, but probably the living room, 거실. So with 걸레. 걸레 is mop or rag. So 걸레, 걸레. Okay. Oh yeah, vacuum cleaner, finally. Yes, vacuum cleaner, and in Korean we call it 청소기. 청소기. Um, the more accurate name actually is 진공청소기. But you could just say 청소기 and Korean people would understand, oh, you're talking about 진공청소기. But no, we generally don't say 진공청소기, even though the accurate name is 진공청소기. So 진공, it could means the vacuum, but 청소기 would be enough. So 청소기 is more than enough. Everybody will understand. So 청소기 is the vacuum cleaner. Okay, so our next one is the duster, and in Korean it's a little long, but follow after me. It's called 먼지떨이. 먼지떨이. Yeah, 먼지 is the dust. 떨이, duster. So 먼지떨이. 먼지떨이. 떨이. Oh, there's a lot of dust in your room. There's a lot of 먼지 in your room. Yeah, 먼지 is dust. Okay? All right. Next one. Trash can. Trash can. So this is called the 휴지통. 휴지통. So if you do happen to go to Korea, to visit Korea, then you say, "Oh, 휴지통 어디 있어요?" That means, where is the trash can? 휴지통, 휴지통. Okay, trash can. So let us review the first set of the household items that we looked at. Okay, let's go over. We talked about the aircon, air conditioner, 선풍기, which is the fan, heater, 빗자루, broom, 쓰레받기, the dustpan, 걸레, mop or rag, 청소기, vacuum cleaner, 먼지떨이, which is the duster, 휴지통, the trash can. Okay, so if you need some time for review, just pause the video, take some time, go over them, okay? And say it, speak it out. Try to memorize it if you can. Okay. All right, so the second set of the household items. Okay, Okay, and then for the next set of the household items, we have knife. Knife, and in Korean we call it 칼. 칼. Knife is 칼. Okay, and the next item, fork. Fork is in Korean 포크. 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 Okay, and the next item. So we had fork, now we have spoon. Spoon in Korean is 숟가락. 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 That's spoon in Korean. Next one. Chopsticks. Okay. 젓가락. 젓가락. So I don't know if you have realized that the chopsticks that the Chinese people use and Japanese people use and Korean people use, they're different. So especially the Korean 젓가락, Korean chopstick is actually made out of steel. So the steel 젓가락 is actually more slipperier, and I've been told that it's not easy compared to the Japanese and Chinese. I'm not saying which one is more better, but they're different. So I've been told that if you are able to use the Korean 젓가락, the steel 젓가락, then using the wooden 젓가락, which I prefer, wooden 젓가락, to be honest. And it seems like the Chinese chopsticks are very longer. It's much longer, and Japanese ones, I think the length is pretty much the same with the Korean, but mostly it's the wooden style chopsticks, which I prefer. But the Korean chopstick is made out of steel, just for your reference. 젓가락. Okay. And the tongs, which is 집게, 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 집게. So 집 was home and house. I don't know if you remember. But tongs is 집게. All right, next one. Scissors. Scissors in Korean we call it the 가위. 가위. 가위 is scissors. And next we have scoop. And in Korean we call that 국자. 국자. Scoop. 국자. Okay. Guk was soup. If you remember from the previous lessons, guk is soup. And we need to scoop to scoop the soup. Okay, and next up we have the frying pan, or some country just call it fry pan, I don't know. But in Korean we call it the fry pan. 프라이팬. So yes, you guessed it right. Fry is fry, and pan is pan. So we call it the 프라이팬. It's frying pan. But I noticed that some countries they call it fry pan as well. So okay, 프라이팬. Next one is the pot. Pot, and in Korean we called it the 냄비. 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 That's the pot. What about the frying pot? Then fry 냄비? No, we don't call that fry 냄비. I think it's just 냄비. 냄비. It's a pot. Okay. Okay, and next up we have the gas range. Gas range, or some country call it the stove. And in Korean we call it the 가스레인지. 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 That's the gas range or stove. 가스레인지. 가스레인지. Okay? 가스레인지. Alright, next one. We have the microwave. Yes. Microwave is called 전자레인지. 전자레인지. Okay, 전자레인지 is the microwave. Okay, so let us review the second set of the household items we mentioned. Okay, from Kyle, knife. 포크 is fork. 숟가락, spoon. 젓가락, chopsticks. 집게, tongs. 가위, scissors. 프라이팬 is frying pan. 냄비, pot. 가스레인지, gas range or stove. And 전자레인지, which is the microwave. Alright, moving on to our... Okay, and the last set of the household items. Firstly is towel. In Korean we call this 수건. 수건. Towel is 수건. 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 Okay? And the next one is bathtubs. And bathtubs is called 욕조. 욕조. 욕조 is bathtubs. Okay, next up, toilet bowl. Toilet bowl is 변기. 변기. 변기 in Korean for toilet bowl. Next up, mirror. Mirror on the wall. So is 거울. 거울. Well, if you say 겨울, that becomes winter. 거 and 여, but now this is 거 and 어, so it's 그 and 어, I'm sorry, so it's 거울, so that becomes mirror. Mirror is 거울. Next up, soap. Soap is 비누. 비누, not 비누, it's 비누. Okay. And next one, we have cosmetics. Cosmetics has 3 syllables, and 화장품. This is a good word for practicing final basic consonant. 화장품. 화장품. That's cosmetics. Okay. And the next one is a shaver. Shaver is 면도기. 면도기. It's a shaver. Okay. And next one, we have the pliers. Pliers, and we call this in Korean 펜치. 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 For pliers. 펜치. And since we have pliers, now we have hammer. Hammer, 망치. 펜치 and 망치, that same chi. 망치. 망치 is hammer. Okay. And Lastly, screwdriver. Screwdriver, we just call it driver. But some call it screwdriver as well, but we will just call it driver. Like driver, driver, driver in Korean. So driver, driver. Okay, perfect. So that was our last set of the household items, and let us go through again. 수건, towel, 욕조, bathtubs, 변기, toilet bowl, 거울, mirror, 비누, soap, 화장품, cosmetics, 면도기, shaver, 펜치, pliers, 망치, hammer, and driver, screwdriver. Alright, and that's it for this lesson on household items in Korean. Hope you enjoyed it and learned some good words, okay? So hope you have a nice day. We'll see you in our next lesson. 감사합니다.